In the last part of our series from Genesis to now, we explored how Israel received the land God promised to them. They conquered much of Canaan, and Yah's great name was becoming known to the other nations. They thrived, but only when they followed God's laws and statutes, refusing to bow down to other gods. However, their disobedience brought punishment time and time again. Let's take a moment to reflect on how God doesn't simply overlook sin. If it feels like He does today, it's because we are living in an age of grace. But that grace won't last forever, and when Christ returns, He won't be all lovey-dovey. It's going to be judgment. Watch closely as we dive into the rise and eventual fall of Israel during their golden years, as their story is a powerful reflection of Yah's patience and justice. After settling in the Promised Land, the 12 tribes of Israel had their territories divided according to the Torah, Moses' law. God raised up judges, leaders who guided Israel in their worship and devotion to Him. The last judge was Samuel, a prophet who heard from God from childhood. He warned Israel to return to Yah with their whole hearts and put away false gods. But as Samuel grew old, his sons strayed from his ways, and the people got tired of corruption and demanded a king. I can imagine the Israelites right now. How come your God and gave us a prophet whose sons have gone astray? Could your prophet not have foreseen that? We need a king who can lead us. They wanted to be like other nations, rejecting Yah's direct reign over them. God allowed it, warning them through Samuel of the heavy price they would pay under human kings. This part of the story holds a mirror to our own desires today. How often do we reject the Spirit's leading for earthly leaders? And just like that, enters Saul from the tribe of Benjamin, Israel's first king. Like most leaders today, he started off righteous, leading fierce battles against the Philistines. But one crucial mistake caused his downfall. Saul went to battle with the Amalekites, and Yah commanded Saul to destroy them completely. But Saul spared their king and kept the best spoils for himself. Isn't that very much like some of us today? Holding on to things that we deem as good when the Lord is clearly telling us to let go. You see, disobedience to Yah, even when disguised as good intentions, is still disobedience. Samuel delivered God's judgment because Saul rejected Yah's command and Yah rejected Saul as king. This was the turning point where Saul's reign began to crumble. And it's a warning to us today about the cost of half-hearted obedience. There's no middle ground when it comes to serving God. You are either all in or all out. Despite Saul's failure, Yah was preparing a new king for Israel, David, a humble shepherd from the tribe of Judah. David's fame began with a bold act of faith when he defeated the Philistine giant Goliath, declaring, "You come to me with a sword and a spear, but I come to you in the name of Yah." Yet, despite this victory, David did not immediately become king because Saul, jealous of David's favor with Yah, sought to take his life. David's patience and reliance on Yah throughout his trials mirror the journey of those who wait on Yah's promises today. He didn't take shortcuts to the throne. He trusted Yah's timing instead. After Saul's death, David was anointed king over Judah, but Israel was divided. Another of Saul's sons, Ishbosheth, was made king over the northern tribes, and a long civil war ensued between the house of Saul and the house of David, with David growing stronger and Ishbosheth's house growing weaker. Eventually, David was anointed king over a united Israel and Judah, and he ruled from Jerusalem, making it the political and spiritual capital. David's reign was marked by great success and victories, but it also came with personal failures that shaped his legacy. His story is an example of how Yah's purpose prevails, even when his chosen leaders fall short. So if you make a mistake along your journey with Yah, do not let the mistake drive you further away from him. 1 John 1 verse 9 says, if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us of our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. David was a good king, but like all of us, he was far from perfect. His greatest failure came when he fell for the beautiful married Bathsheba. David's attempt to cover his sin led to her husband Uriah's death in battle. But God saw through David's scheme and sent the prophet Nathan to confront him. The consequences of David's sin were severe. The sword never leave his house, and the child born from this affair would die. Yah's justice is always tempered by his mercy, but this story reminds us that sin always carries a cost. Still, from David and Bathsheba's union came Solomon, who would go on to rule Israel and build Yah's temple. The prophecy against David's house would come to pass when his own son Absalom led a rebellion against him. Absalom's revolt divided Israel once again, forcing David to flee Jerusalem. But Yah remained with David, and though the rebellion was eventually crushed, the scars it left on David's family ran deep. This part of the story shows us that even the most anointed leaders can suffer when they stray from God's path. As David's life came to an end, there was one final power struggle within his family. David's son Adonijah tried to take the throne, but Yah's promise was clear. Solomon, the son of Bathsheba, was to be king. Solomon's reign began with Yah's blessing, and David, in his final days, passed the mantle of leadership to him. Solomon's story is one we will explore more deeply in the next video, as he would play a crucial role in shaping Israel's future for better and for worse. Here are the key lessons from this part of the series. Israel rejected Yah. They wanted to be like other nations and asked for a king, rejecting God as their ruler. That's number one. Number two, Saul's downfall was as a result of disobedience to Yah that cost him his kingdom. Number three, David's rise. Despite his human flaws, David's faith and reliance on Yah made him a great king. Number four, even Yah's chosen can fall into sin, but God's justice and mercy are always present. Number five, Israel rejected Yeshua because they were expecting another ruler like David, but their true king was already among them. Let me tell you why this matters. The stories of Saul and David are more than just history. They are lessons for us today. We are called to follow Yah fully and to understand that half-hearted obedience is not enough. These stories point us toward the coming Messiah who would fulfill the promise that began with David. Yah is very clear about what he expects, and we are to follow before the age of grace comes to an end. Once again, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and join in the discussion in the comments. There are others who would love to learn as well, so please share the video while you're at it. I will see you in part 4 of From Genesis to Now next time here.